Thank you so much for choosing to volunteer here at the Harvest Compassion Center. We've put together this short video to help your shift run as smoothly as possible. Let's get started.
When you first arrived, you should have been given a confidentiality policy. This states that if a guest chooses to share their information or story with you, you will not share it with others. You will not post it on social media or give out anyone's information. We want this to be a safe place for our guests. Here at the Harvest Compassion Center, our goal is to treat each guest that walks through our doors with respect and dignity. We offer choices and a place to shop instead of handing people a box filled with food they may or may not want to eat. This is where you come in. As opposed to standing in the back room filling boxes with food, you are able to work one-on-one with each of our guests. The first volunteer position we want to talk about is our lobby worker. This volunteer will offer guests a number as they come in. If the guest has never been to shop at the HCC before, please give them a guest information form to fill out along with their number. Please direct the guest to fill out the form and keep it with them until their number is called. This volunteer will periodically remind the guests to have their ID, proof of residence, and their black bag out and ready for when their number is called. This volunteer should offer water to our guests, but please, no water for children under 4 unless their parent is closely supervising them. Water is only to be consumed in the lobby area, and the cap should remain on until the guest is outside. Please encourage kids to take a toy and a book home with them after they are done playing in our kids' corner. If a family needs diapers, the shift leader will let you know, and you will go behind the curtain in the clothing area to get the correct size and wipes. Please help with the transition between getting checked in at the desk and shopping for food. Offer a hello to the guests, tell them who will be shopping with them today, and offer the guest's name to the volunteer waiting in the food department. Finally, give their check-in sheet to the volunteer working in the food department. The next set of volunteers we will be talking about is the food section volunteers. These volunteers will place their sign-in sheet under or to the side of their black bag so that it does not end up at the bottom of the bag covered with groceries. Place the guest's black bag in the cart and remind the guest that you will be the one taking the items off the shelf and packing their bag for them. Ask the guest to please not take anything off the shelves, but to point to something if they are interested in it. Walk behind the cart and allow the guests to push the cart. This allows our volunteers to interact better with our guests. It makes them feel a part of the shopping experience as opposed to turning your back to the guest and making them feel they have to move around you to see what's on our shelves. Follow the guidelines and limits placed on the shelves. It's a good idea to communicate that shopping will end when the bag becomes full. This allows the guest to be selective in shopping. We would be remiss if we got to the hygiene section and had no room for these necessities. Speaking of hygiene, the HCC is one of the only food banks that is consistent in offering hygiene items to all our guests every visit. While other food banks see toothpaste, shampoo, soap, and deodorant as luxury items, we know that they are needed every day. As you finish up with the hygiene section, help the guest's bag into the bin and let them know how many items of clothing they have. This number is located at the bottom of their check-in sheet and will be circled. Bring the shopping cart back into the food section and wait for the next guest to serve. If there's a free moment, please make your way around the food section and pull all items to the front of the shelf. If there is an empty plastic bin, please leave it where it is so you know where to restock specific items. If there are cardboard boxes, please break these down. Make sure all labels are facing out. We want to keep our facility looking as polished as possible. 2 to 3 volunteers will be in the clothing section. These volunteers will help with the transition between the food and clothing section. Put the guest's food bag in one of the cubbies and write the cubby number on their check-in sheet. Find out if this is the guest's first time shopping at the HCC and ask if they know the limitations on clothing. If not, go over limits with guests, explaining that there are limits on some items and other items don't count towards their final number. Each guest is allowed 5 minutes to shop. This is important so we don't have traffic jams in the clothing area which cause confusion. Observe the guests as they shop for clothing. This is not a one-on-one shopping experience anymore, but we want to make sure our guests don't accidentally walk out with too many items. Ask to take the clothing items that the guest is holding so that you can start bagging them right away. At the bottom of the check-in sheet, there are sections labeled for each item of clothing. Please check off all the items that the guests leave with. This allows us to keep track of all the items that go out the door. Bag all of the guests' clothing items, and please sign your name in the volunteer slot at the bottom of the page. Offer to help the guests out to their car. If there's a free moment, please make your way around the clothing area to gather any loose hangers, make sure hangers are on the rack correctly, refold any pants and shorts that are messy, and clean up any loose tags. There's a place for hangers behind the clothes curtain. Please throw away the tags and place the hangers in the correct area to be reused.
Thank you again for volunteering your time at the Harvest Compassion Center. We hope this video was helpful, but if you have any questions, please let me or your shift leader know. We would be happy to answer them. Let's have fun.